Hello, Year 4. We are going to be doing another persuasive text today, but this one's going to be a bit of a fun one and a short one. All right, so today we're going to get a little bit silly and we're going to do a ridiculous persuasive text. Today, we are going to try and convince our parents for something to do. Okay, so have you ever tried to convince your parents to let you do something that you kind of knew like they weren't going to say yes to? I reckon everyone who's watching this video has probably been in that situation. And yeah, it usually doesn't go so well. So, what are some of the things that parents don't let you do? Okay, when I was a kid, so this is like 60 billion years ago when I was a kid, when the dinosaurs were walking around, my parents, they, they didn't let me stay up late, even though I'd lie there in bed like I'd lie there in bed until 11 o'clock at night, and they'd send me to bed at 8 o'clock, and I'd be just lying there like I can't sleep. I could have been using that time. Maybe if I was allowed to stay up till 11 o'clock every night, now I'd be a famous rock star because I would have gotten way better at guitar. But no, didn't happen. What was another thing they didn't let me do? They didn't let me eat ice cream for breakfast. I remember having this argument with my mum one time. So it's like, why are you letting me eat a sugary treat right before bed? I'm never going to fall asleep if I'm full of sugar now. I should be able to have ice cream for breakfast. And that really stumped her. She was like, oh man, you're actually speaking some pretty good truths there. Like, that probably is the best time of the day to eat breakfast. I mean, to eat ice cream because you're going to burn it off by the end of the day. But then she was like, no. Dessert is an after dinner thing and you don't get to eat it for breakfast. So bummer for me, hey, but I still stand by that. I still think that you should be able to eat ice cream for breakfast, and my parents would never let me do that. Evil people. And we'll do one more here, one more thing. They didn't let me play enough video games. Now, your parents are great people and they definitely know what's best for you. But I remember like sometimes my mum would say, all right, you got half an hour to play a video game. And then it'd spend like 5 minutes, 10 minutes on loading screens. And then I'd finally get to play and I get to play for like 10 minutes. And then she'd be like, you've only got 5 minutes left. And then I'd be like, but I just started playing. And then I'd die. And then that was it. I'd get one good game in me. And it was never any fun. And this was the days, old school games of PlayStation 2 and stuff where every game had like really long loading screens. These days it's not quite like that. But it took forever to load levels. So I remember just being really sad about it all the time. And there's lots of other ones too. Like, my mum never let me eat McDonald's when I was a kid, or any fast food actually, for example. So like when I was older and I actually tried KFC for the first time when I was like, I think I was like 10 or 11, maybe 12. It was the first time I ever tried KFC. I was like, what is this? So I was just like, this is amazing. Why did my mom never let me have this? This is joy. She doesn't let me be happy. So, well, now that we are great at writing persuasive text, let's try and convince them of something. Now, cute picture, right? Kind of looks. It's what you guys do, right? When you really want to. Please, mom, can I have? Yeah, it doesn't work, does it? So what doesn't work when you're trying to persuade things? All right, one thing that really doesn't work, and it never worked for me, but throwing a tantrum. Throwing a tantrum never works. You're the worst. You're the worst ever because you never let me have ice cream for breakfast. You know what happened then? My mum would just say, "You're the worst and you're never having ice cream again and I have all the money." And I'd be like, "Oh, I failed. Failed big time. But also being overly sweet. So, like you do the bribe thing where you're like, Mom, I'll be good all day if you let me have ice cream for breakfast. And then the instant you finish your ice cream for breakfast, you're just being a brat again, because that's what kids do. Um, and then they fall for it once and then they never fall for it again. Parents are pretty smart. What else doesn't work? I guess bribing, like I just said, bribing. Having a bribe doesn't work. I'll clean my room if you let me do this. Never works. They'll just say, you're going to clean your room and you're not going to have that, because parents are actually pretty smart. And what about some other things, like, you know, um, you say, I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. You kind of really can't do that because you got to have proven it to them already. So you can't really make threats or anything like that. So threats is another one. If you don't let me eat this ice cream, I'll hate you forever. It's never going to work because they're just going to be like, okay, radio, you're just being rude. So what does work? Believe it or not, if you ever want to win an argument, your best chance is to be understanding. And listen to them. Another one is compromise, and I'll go through these a little bit. And yeah, let's look at that. So being understanding. So, if you really want to have ice cream for breakfast and you understand that clearly it's not the best thing to do, right? And you really shouldn't be eating ice cream every day anyway, but you could be understanding about it. You could say, Mom, Dad, look, I know that this is crazy, but I just want to have ice cream for breakfast today. And I understand that I shouldn't do this every day. But, this weekend it's been raining, COVID's been happening. I kind of just need to have, I think that just for this one time, just this once, I want to have ice cream for breakfast. And I want to try it out. I want to see what it's like. I might not even like it, but I understand. It's not usual, but I kind of want to do something fun. Okay? And a compromise. You could say, there are some breakfasts that already have ice cream built into it. Like a lot of people have pancakes, and pancakes is usually served with ice cream. So I was just thinking if we could do the pancakes but without the pancakes and just have the ice cream, because that would be healthier. And maybe you could even say, and I'll even, you know what, we could even have a little bit of fruit with the ice cream. Maybe cut up some strawberries, a couple of blueberries, some being a little bit healthy at the same time. A compromise. Compromise. So you're speaking their language. Speaking their language a little bit. What does work is to have a little bit of research behind you. So that's kind of what I was saying about, you've gone and found out that pancakes sometimes are served with ice cream. You've gone and done a little bit of research about times when it is acceptable to have ice cream for breakfast. Or maybe you can say, make a special occasion. So one time when I was a kid, this is a funny story. I'm actually using this ice cream for breakfast thing because I actually pulled this off one time. I I made a special day. I said, Mom, on next Tuesday, it's eat ice cream for breakfast day, and it's a national thing. It's an international thing. Everyone's doing it around the world, Mom. And then she was like, "Really? I've never heard of it." And I was like, "Yeah, I just invented it just then." And she thought it was so funny and so sweet that we did it. and she was like, let's make this a special occasion every year. We have ice cream for breakfast day, and I think it was on June the 4th or something. It was a really bad time of the year to do it. It was like every time we did it was freezing, but it was an occasion that we made every year after that, so that was kind of fun. So make it a special occasion. And another thing is, don't think, never go in saying this is going to happen every day forever. You got to be a little bit loose and um, have reasonable expectations. So if you say, I'm not saying that we should never have we should always have ice cream for breakfast, but I'm also saying that we shouldn't never have it for breakfast. There should be at least 1 or 2 days every now and then when we have ice cream for breakfast. That's just silly to say that we're never going to have it. So, what are some things that we can write about? Obviously, I'm going to write about ice cream for breakfast. You could have, let me stay up later. I want a new bike. One thing my mum never understood too, like I outgrew my bike, and then by the time I got a new bike, I'd almost outgrown that one too. I needed an adult bike. So there was a few years where I just didn't really ride my bike because my knees were hitting the handlebars, and people bullied me about it. I'm still sad about it. Um, there are other things like maybe you could say, maybe like Friday night should always be treat night. So another really good example is like, we shouldn't really be eating McDonald's every single night, obviously, but if we have it every Friday night, I think that would be a good thing, because then I wouldn't nag you about it because I know it's coming up every week. And then you would have to say, you would want to have it too, because it's a thing that's going to happen every week. So Friday night should be a treat night. Maybe you could alternate your treats. So maybe one week you have Domino's, one week you have Chinese food, one week you have like Thai food, one week you have McDonald's, whatever. you know Try and be persuasive in that way. Like, maybe you don't like McDonald's so much, and maybe one week we can have McDonald's, and then the next week we can have something that you really like French food or something. Don't know why I thought of that. And then maybe one more is, maybe you could try and convince your parents for hmm, that'll probably do it. If I give you too many more ideas, you won't think of your own. So you can use one of these if you like, but I want you to start using your own as well. If you want to do your own, you can definitely do that. If you have something else that you want to convince your parents of, you can definitely do that. And then in this slide, I want you to plan it, why I should be able to. So you could probably just write it in here. So you could do it in a letter style. So dear mum and dad, or dear dad, or dear mum, or dear whatever. I think it is time to tell you some of my thoughts about ice cream for breakfast. Firstly, and we'll go on from there. So, firstly, I think it's a great idea to have ice cream for breakfast occasionally. So why don't we set up a date that you and I, we can organize it together. We'll all have ice cream for breakfast, and it'll be a fun family activity. Doesn't that sound convincing? I'm pretty sure your parents would be like, "That's so sweet of you. I can't believe you thought of that. Um, it's so selfless, and I'm so happy." But really, you just want some ice cream, right? All right. Well, if you have any questions about this one, feel free to email me or email your teacher, or ask your teacher, or add it in the comments of this post. I need a little bit of help with the persuasive text, but I think you guys should probably be able to do this because, I'm sure that you've tried to do this before with your parents. And this way, you might actually be successful in the future. All right. I'm going to leave it there, but thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.